well as Tuesday wrestling, and you all know what that means. So today we got NWA SuperPowerrr. So they're going to take a bit of a break from the Champion Series. As you know, we only got 4 teams remaining. So I don't know when they'll commence that again, but let's just enjoy the matches that features the NWA World Television title on the line. A couple of non-title matches, but also they're really great to watch. Now, now we got, of course, AEW Dark with 9 stacked matches, as you know. We have, of course, R.A. Fox in the main event taking on Slim J of the Trustbusters. And then finally, NXT with the North American title on the line. We also feature Kiana James taking on Fallon Henley for the Battle of the Bar and many other things. We're also going to be doing some discussions regarding a somewhat of a beef between both Maya Yukihi and, of course, current Stardom star Julia. It appears that their beef has been reignited when Maya Yukihi first reappeared in Stardom at the Triangle Derby press conference. It looks like there's some sort of history between both Maya Yukihi and Julia. And of course, we got some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with NWA SuperPowerrr. So, we have some interesting matches that took place. Our first match is for the NWA World Television title. So, Jordan Clearwater puts the title on the line against Mercurio. Now, ever since Jordan Clearwater won this match, he now is playing strategy to ensure that this match will stay in his favor. So he's been getting advice from both Black G's and Austin Idol. Now, keep in mind, this title only lasts for 6 minutes and 5 seconds. So that kind of sets the tone. But it was the Midas touch by Jordan Clearwater that allowed him to retain the title and continue. So this should be maybe his first or second defense. We're not sure yet, but we'll find out soon enough. Now, our next match, we have the Morns. Kerry and Ricky Morn taking on the Fixers, Wrecking Ball Legursky and Jay Bradley. Now, this is a non-title tag match. As you know, the Fixers are the current NWA United States Tag Team Champions, while Kerry Morn is the current NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. So I thought this match was pretty good. It showed how much the Morns, they don't trust the Fixers after all the things that Kobe Carino put them through. But with a bit of a miracle, both Morns actually rolled up Legursky and Bradley that allowed them to win the match. Now our next match, we have a three-way Garrison excuse me, Garrison Creed, Jeremiah Brunk, and Thrax. However, Thrax has been out of action for quite some time. He had some sort of surgery, but now he's back. But apparently, Creed and Plunkett decided to team up in order to eliminate the threat, which is Thrax. It kind of backfired, but it was, of course, a pile driver by Plumpkin onto Creed to allow him to win the match. Now, our next match, we have the Question Mark versus Damage. Now, you know this is a bit of a, how to say, feud between both Damage and Question Mark 2 due to the fact of Aaron Stevens, who tried to dishonor the name of Question Mark, his old friend and mentor, but this time his brother's out to fix the problem. But however, once again, Aaron Stevens used a loaded glove to knock out Question Mark 2 to ensure that the match ended in his favor. Now, our next match, this one's a very interesting. We had Kenzie Page versus Camille. Now, Kenzie Page tried to play smart the entire time, tried to play methodical by taking out the shoulder of Camille. But Camille could have won this match if it wasn't for Ella Envy, who got involved, disqualifying the match. This is not how Camille wanted, but she did spear both these ladies to teach them a lesson, and I hope it was a good one. Now, our next and final match, we have Joe Alonso along with La Rebellion, Mecha Wolf, and Bestia 666 taking on Austin Idolmania Sports Management Crew. All members of all three champions. We have Jordan Clearwater, our current NWA World Television title champion. The Great Zion, the current NWA National Heavyweight Champion. And of course, we cannot forget Tyrus, the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So this is a lot of things. Now, this match was pretty amazing, but however, Joe Alonso, who's teamed with La Rebellion, I don't know what the hell is he thinking. He was clearly the match could have fallen in favor of Rebellion if it wasn't for his arrogance. He cost the match. Basically, he got the tongue and death grip by Tyrus that allowed them the match. If I was Rebellion, I just ditch the guy, never come back. Just teach him a lesson. Don't tag yourself in if you're not sure if you're gonna win. He's trying to steal the moment, but it did not work in his favor. So hopefully next time, don't ever do it again. And I think that's pretty much it with NWA. I believe it's time for AEW Dark. Okay, AEW Dark opened up with Angelico taking on Dante Casanova. Not much about him, but you probably can guess that this match ended in favor of Angelico when he applied one of his submission moves, but he did it with the support of his fellow teammates, the Spanish Announce Project, Serpentico and Luther, which was a good feeling. So I'm kind of curious about this team, but mostly Angelico looks more like he is turning a bit of a new leaf in some ways. Now in the interview we had Brock Anderson and Arn Anderson. As you know, we haven't seen him for quite some time. Brock Anderson has been set to face against Daddy Magic Mac Menard, so he knows what to expect. However, Matt Menard replied that saying that he is happy that Arn Anderson's not going to be there because coincidentally, no one from the JSA is there too. But basically, he thinks this is going to win. That makes his nipples hard. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? But who knows? Now, our next match, we have tag team action. The Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry taking on the Hugh brothers, Taryn and Terrell, sons of Devon Dudley. You probably can guess this match ended with an amazing backbreaker by Anthony Henry onto Taryn, and 1, 2, 3, it was over right from there. Now, next match we have Fuego del Sol taking on Lucky Ali. This match was pretty good, but we saw the infamous Tornado DDT that, of course, Fuego has always been using his move. It's been a while since we've seen Fuego, but it's great to hear from him. Now, our match between Brock Anderson and Matt Menard. You can tell this match was brutalized. No seconds at either side, but however, the top turnbuckle was removed thanks by Matt Menard, but when the ref did not look at Matt Menard, took advantage of that and decided to use that in order to pick up a win. This is not what Brock probably wants, but sooner or later things will go. Brock will get back on a high horse. Next match, we have Evil Uno taking on Blake Lee. You can guess this match ended with Evil Uno with something evil, and just like that, he won. Now, the Iron Savages, as you know, they showed up. Bronson and Boulder without their manager, which was strange to take on Brandon Bullock and Jameson Ryan. But however, I think they did pretty good without their manager by their side. But Taz said that it looks more like he's probably looking for new clients. I'm not sure if he got fired from them, but it's still unclear. But it was interesting. But it was a cannonball that finished both men up. But Bronson was the one who picked up the win. Next up, we got Diamante versus Mafiosa. This match ended in the amount this way when she applied Code Red and Belimo. Just like that, she won the match. Now, our main event, we got Slim J along with members of the Trustbusters, consistent of Sunny Kiss and Jeeves K. This match was great. I love how there was some innovation offense coming from both men. But however, it was the 450 splash by R.A. Fox that sealed the deal for him to win. I thought it was a pretty good win for him, especially since he's now with AEW. It's great to hear that. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with NXT. Okay, NXT, last show of the year for them. So we'll see how this goes. Open up with JD McDonough taking on Julius Creed. Now, JD McDonough has been on their butts, mostly on, of course, the Creed brothers. But this is where, of course, a lot of things you got to remember. JD McDonough knows how to dissect his enemies no matter what he does. But Julius did not waver. He did not give up until one mistake was made by JD McDonough when he did a moonsault. And, of course, Julius pulled out of the way, and it did allow for of course, Julius to apply a running clothesline. 1, 2, 3, they win the match. However, while Julius was celebrating along with his brother Brutus, here comes Indus congratulating Julius on his win. However, they announced that they will challenge them in 2 weeks' time at New Year's Evil, which is going to be interesting. So it looks more like the date is set. So we'll see how the Creed brothers will be prepared against a much bigger group. So we'll see about that. Now, we had our next interview, Tony D'Angelo, who's feeling good about today, knowing that he is going to face Wesley for the North American title. Stacks was there too. So, but he did, but we don't know what's the nature of Stacks, what he told Dijak. We know for a fact Dijak has his sights set on Wesley, but we'll see what happens then. Now we have Cora Jade versus Wendy Choo. Now keep in mind this little beef between them goes back a long way. Basically, Wendy Choo had said some certain things about how Cora Jade is nothing but a bully and all that, and of course the bully threw her drink right in her face, went to a darker place, but Wendy Choo did apply a bit of a knee drop right on the abdomen of Cora Jade, allowing her to win. However, how would this affect Cora Jade, knowing that we know she will pursue the NXT Women's Championship? So we'll find out soon enough. Now, Fallon Henley is preparing for her match against Kiana James, but Brooks Jensen seems he has his eyes set on Kiana James. This is not good, but we'll see what happens then. Now, about a week or two ago, Ike Manjaro was attacked by Scripps, took his jacket, but Ike Manjaro reappeared wearing nothing but pants, no jacket. So it's kind of weird. But you would have thought that this match would have been fallen retribution by Ike Manjaro. No, Scripps applied that 450 onto him that allowed him to win, and he gave him back his jacket. So, kind of interesting. Our next match, we have Lash Legend taking on Lyra Valkyria. I thought this match was pretty good because it shows Lyra what she can do. And of course, she flew off on top of Lash Legend. 1, 2, 3, it's done right there. Now, as you know, Toxic Attraction are not basically in a good mood. They know they have now lost everything. Gigi Dolan and JZ Jane were not that even close to regain the NXT Women's Tag Team titles, not to mention Mandy Rose is no longer there. However, it appears that they are targeting one particular person who they believe is responsible for the fall of the empire of Toxic Attraction. That is our current NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne. Our next match, we have Schism with Rip Fowler, Jagger Reed, and Joe Casey, along with Ava Reigns, taking on Odyssey Jones, Malik Blade, and Edris Enofe. I thought this match was pretty good, But however, the bigger threat that I believe what Schism did is eliminating the much bigger threat, which is Odyssey Jones. I thought that was a good play until Gazy applied his finisher. 1, 2, 3. They win the match. Now our next two interviews we have Braun Breaker. Now last week we saw what happened where he speared Grayson Waller, but he hit a metal plate. But unfortunately, Waller was not there. He's back in his home country of Australia, claiming that once he beats Braun Breaker, he will take that belt back with him to Australia. Now, our next interview, Hayes and Trick has stuff on their mind. Trick hasn't forgotten the humiliation he received from Axiom last week, so he's going to teach him a lesson. But even though Trick Williams got involved in the match, so I'm sure Axiom will deal with him in a much funnier or methodical way. But as for Hayes, he will not tolerate the fact of Cruz, who is here to win the NXT championship, which is something he still will not give up just yet. So we'll see what happens. Next match we have, of course, is Fallon Henley versus Kiana James. I thought this match was okay, but I don't know what happened. There was a moment where, of course, I don't know if Fallon tripped. Fallon, like it was part of the whole thing, but it did apply her to do like a running clothesline onto her. 1, 2, 3 wins, and that means she wins her bar back. Now, Roxanne Perez, as you know, she has our next interview. She knows what the pressure's on her. She wants to represent what was the NXT Women's Championship bout, and not to mention, she's self-aware of the target on her back, so she has to be in the best fighting spirit as always. Now, we did have a Drew Gulak Invitational where it was like more of the catch can. We have Hank Walker and several other wrestlers, but however, the party was interrupted by Charlie Dempsey. It appears that he has some criticism over Drew Gulak, but we'll see what happens then. Now, our next match, we have the NXT North American Championship between the Don of NXT, Tony D'Angelo versus Wesley. I thought this match was pretty good. Now, you probably would have thought the match would have fallen in favor of Tony D, but no, Dijak shows up. I don't know what was happening, but Dijak kidnapped Stacks, but it did allow for the distraction to happen. And of course, Wesley did his finisher, that little backflip move onto him, and boom, knocking him out completely to retain the title. So we'll see what happens next week between the Don and Dijak. So I feel like this is going to be a much interesting feud. And I think right now, let's end it right here and move on with DWZ Discussion.
Get the guns, the drugs from my generation. I'll take the fall, the state, and across the nation. And it's a sin, the guns, the fake, the fraud, the messing with me. Come on, come on, come on, let's get it on. Move to the music, play that fucking music. Move it to the music, yeah. Music, play that fucking music. Live through my music, yeah. Now get the guns, the drugs from my generation. I'll take the fall, the state, and across the nation. And it's the sex, the god, the fakes, the fraud, they're messing with me. Come on, come on, come on, let's get it on. Move to the music, play that fucking music. Move it to the music, yeah.
Okay, welcome to the DWZ Discussions. This one's a very interesting topic. Maya Yukihi versus Giulia. Now, why did I title that? Well, there's a reason why. Now, those who are new to Stardom, those who don't know what's been going on, let me recap what recently took place not too long ago. Before New Blood 6, they announced the commencement of the Triangle Derby, which is a Trios League tournament. Amongst this team is a group of outsiders, or as they call them, invaders, known as Rebel X Enemy, consistent of Ram Kaicho, Maika Ozaki, and Mayu Hiki. However, while these people were introducing themselves, Giulia, who is our number one contender for the World of Stardom Championship, doesn't seem too pleased to see Mayu Hiki. Now, what is the current beef between them? So, not to mention, Julia asked her, "What are you doing here?" And of course, Maya responded saying that she got an offer to be there. And she tells her, "You don't belong here." So basically, she didn't like the idea of them coming. However, this is nothing compared with prominence. The only difference is Julia had no problems with prominence, but they did have a problem with her. That's the difference. But what is the history between them? Now we all know that they came from the same promotion together, known as Ice Ribbon. However, Julia kind of gave her side of the story, what really was going on. This is coming from Monthly Peer Rusu. She explained that during their time in past, she and Julia and Maya were in fact competing for the same title, which is a title that Maya Yukihi has held, which is the Ice Infinity Championship. However, Julia tried to win that belt 3 times, but all 3 times it happened. But Julia did speculate that Maya Yukihi was saying things behind her back, and we don't know if that was evidence of her to leave Ice Ribbon when she stirred that controversy and all that. So it appears now, because of her parents, fans have already began to speculate that they believe that once the Julia will win the red belt and will nominate Mayuhiki to challenge for the belt. Now, why would Julia do that? You ask yourselves that question. This is a similar situation between Sudi and Risa Serra. Now, let me explain that situation, what really took place. When Prominence first arrived, Risa Serra targeted Julia. However, Sudi hasn't forgotten Risa Serra. It turns out that their history goes way back when Risa Serra was the Ice Infinity champion. Sudi tried to challenge for that belt, but she failed, suffered a humiliating loss towards Risa Serra. But however, Risa Serra did target the red belt, and eventually that match took place and Flashing Champions. But eventually, uh, Risa Serra was choked out, but Suzuki threw the towel in order for her to surrender. Now the situation is this with Mayuhiki and Julia is that Julia doesn't like the fact that someone else is here stealing her thunder. Now, there is a reason why this is happening. There's been talk about wrestlers who are freelancers don't need a big company like Stardom or any company to be famous. And that's always been the case. Mayuhiki is already famous. She is well known throughout the Japanese wrestling scene. Been with many promotions. She appeared in DDT, Gambari Pro, Ice Ribbon, a few others. You don't need a big company. Julia believes in her philosophy. You do need a big company, but you could have appeared out of your own merit. And I think that's the lesson that Julia refuses to accept. She wants to be the top of the game. That's always been the case. I mean, she did try to go after Maya Iwatani's throne because she is the icon, and that's she felt that the icon status is hers. But we don't know for sure. She didn't even mention that maybe one day she will challenge for the IWGP Women's Championship. But right now, her focus is on the red belt. But as Mayuhiki, she has proven time and time again why they don't need a big company. She did stated that if the offer is given to her to make appearances, then she'll do it. Now, why do I say that they don't need a big company to be famous or popular? If you don't believe that kind of talk, then tell that to the elite. Consistently, mostly with the Bucks, Kenny, Hangman, Cody, and Marty Scurll. If you guys remember, WWE back in the day actually considered them as a threat because they were not signed to any big company. They were signed to Ring of Honor and New Japan, and I think that's said everything right out there in the open. But however, they didn't need WWE to become famous. They already were famous because of t-shirt sales, being the elite, whatever. And I think that's more than enough. And I think Mayuhiki has done it. Not to mention, Mayuhiki is in fact one of 4 girls who run the Yoshi organization known as um, the Freelance Summit Nomads, along with Rina Yamashita, uh, Miyuki Takase, and of course, forgot what's her name, Surumi Natsu. I don't know how Julia would react to Rina being friends with Mayuhiki, but it probably would not be good. So, do I picture if Julia does win the belt, will she nominate Mayuhiki? I feel it could happen in every aspect due to the fact it would be more like Julia is trying to right a wrong that was wrong to her back in the day. Now, keep in mind, she did state it when she was in Ice Ribbon that she was a victim. Now, we don't know for sure if there was any chances that she could have won the Ice Infinity Championship if she didn't plan the leave. But that's another conversation that we will never know for sure about that. So, what I find interesting is that Julia is not happy that someone from her past is in her territory. Now, Julia doesn't run Stardom. I feel like the way it's going to be, they're going to say Rossi's the one paying them or Bushi Road. I don't think Julia's going to appreciate that it's taking place. So we're going to wait and see. We're going to see what's going to happen because they will be part of the opening night starting on January 3rd. Um, Julia's team, along with Mayuhiki's team, will face off together. So I think that's pretty much it with our DWZ discussion. Let's move on to our final thing, news updates. Welcome to our news updates. We opened up right now. Let's talk about Garden State Pro Wrestling, which is making its return after a few months not being active. They announced for several things, two matches taking place. Our first one is Edith Surreal versus Jordan Blade. I think this is going to be a killer match. But however, the next match that they announced is for the Garden State Openweight Championship. Alan Angels, our first ever champion, will put the title on the line against Alec Price. That's going to be interesting to watch. Now, as you know, we got the WrestleMania weekend taking place very, very soon. So we're like only 3 or 4 months away. However, WrestleCon has announced that they signed Tessa Blanchard. Now, we don't know if she'll participate in any matches or will she be doing autograph sessions. That is still the undetermined there, but I will put a pin on that. Wrestling Revolver's updates here. So we have, of course, for the night of the Moxbury on the 2nd of February of 2023, we're going to have a title match, the Remix title. We're going to have Alex Shelley defend it against Rich Swann. We still don't know what's the stipulation, but I'm sure this is going to be very interesting. And then finally, for their upcoming event on the 4th of March, we have Dirty Dangle making his debut. So this is going to be great to hear. Now, for our GCW updates here, we have two of them. A match has been assigned for the Till Infinity show, which takes place on the 30th of December. We have Blake Christian taking on Effie, so that's going to be interesting. However, our next update, Commander make his return to GCW. He's already been signed for January 20th in Charlotte, North Carolina, the 21st of January in Huntsville, and then on the 22nd in Florence. So that's going to be good to hear. Now for the JCW Battle Brawl that's take place on New Year's Day, they announced for the next entrant it's going to be Jimmy Lloyd. So this is going to be interesting to hear about. Now, Singapore Pro Wrestling, I may have heard this promotion, has announced that the Queen of Asia Championship will be on the line. Their champion Alexis Lee will be defending against current Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling star Yuki Kamifuku. Yes, folks, she will be making her presence there. This will take place soon. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Now, finally, a promotion based out of Tennessee, All Pro Wrestling, with their event called Sweet Emotions will take place. It just revealed that the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship will be put on the line. That Kerry Morton will be facing a 3-time NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. That is Chase Owens. So that's going to be a banger of a match. So we'll see what happens then. So I think right now, let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have AEW with New Year's Smash. I'm so excited for what's going to happen, but we'll just wait and see if there's any other events that I haven't seen. I will put those out as soon as possible. And I think that's pretty much it for now. Hope you guys enjoy everything I did for Tuesday Wrestling. And of course, we cannot forget the discussions involving Maya Yukihi and Julia, and of course, the news updates, what's been going on in pro wrestling. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.